Hello there, moin moin ladies and gentlemen, Donspektor here with another IEM review. And today for you I have the thHifi character. Yes, we are taking a look at a very, I want to say small brand, niche IEM today. And yeah, we will check out what this thing can or can't do. And as usual, packaging accessories. And let me stress, this is probably the most premium packaged IEM I have had in, I don't know, forever. Like, it definitively feels more like a 500 plus buck IEM than 160 what we originally charged here. You might not see this now here, but let me flip this around. Yep, that is a freaking bamboo box. And if we slide this packaging off here, there's unfortunately no graph. Yeah, it's not even a bad bamboo box in that. It's definitely really chunky box, as you can see here. It's like almost as long as my hands. And yeah, width-wise, you can also see is pretty damn big, but it's nicely opened. Let me quickly show you. It's even thick bamboo, so it's also nicely made around, like there's no sharp corners or anything. And then you have the paper on top. IEM would be in here in foam, and you already saw I had it behind. Then we remove the foam. We would get the manual, which is again very nicely done, like very coherently written. Everything you need to know about your IEM is exactly in here, including a nice guide how to set it in. And something that you cannot see, but I can smell it again. Yeah, this is perfumed, and it is actually something that I have had in a few other IEMs, but it's a nice small touch. It just cries them one, and then you get a nice smell when you open it, if you like that smell, of course. And in here would be the accessories, and here the carrying pouch. Let's quickly remove the bamboo box here. Whoop. That's the carrying pouch. As you can see, it closes magnetically. As you can see, it's a bit squishy, not too bad though. And size-wise, it is a medium big overall. And as usual, these are not real stitches. This is just glued together. And if you open it, it also unfortunately lacks a net for your accessories. But overall, it stays closed well enough. And I think it's a totally fine carrying case. And then we come to our accessories here. And let me remove them for you so we can see what I actually get. And as you can see, this is a very nicely accessoried IEM here. You have this clip for your cable. That is great to see. Then we have these medium wide outlet tips that are relatively cone shaped. We have these oval outlet tips that are relatively big in outlet diameter. We have here bigger outlet diameter, still medium shaped tips that are less cone shaped, a bit more ball shaped. And then last but not least, these, I would say a bit below average diameter outlet tips. And yeah, overall, this is a nice set of accessories. Just wish there would be foam tips included. But for this price, I mean, yeah, of course, like you always have to make a compromise. And yeah, this is very premium otherwise. So in summary, really premium accessories here, premium packaging, really nice to see. However, I'm not sure at this price point if this is where you should focus on, because yeah, this means you do lose some R&D money and some actually production money for the IEM. More about that when we talk about audio quality later on. Okay, after we tackle the box and the accessories, let's come to the IEM, ladies and gentlemen. And here we actually have this bad boy. And yeah, unfortunately, I do not have the MMCX tool here at the moment. And the other side of the IEM is not on my table here. So we will have to live with the cable for the duration of this review. In short, this is a well-built IEM. It uses a complete metal shell here. It is not too heavy though, but also not light. And the only issue I have here is that there's glue residues around here, as you can see. Yeah, also the other side had exactly that. But this is really just nitpicking, because overall there's no issues I have with this IEM. The faceplate seems to be glued in well. It doesn't rock, it doesn't like do anything. It seems to be, also there's no seams that I could notice here around. So that's nice. Then we have a pressure hole here near the connector, and that is not working super well. Sometimes after feeling you get light driver flex, but it's still working, so it's not a bad driver flex IEM whatsoever. And then yeah, here at the front the mesh seems to be glued in well. I have no problems with it, and the L&R printing on here is well readable in normal lighting conditions indoors. Outdoors, I mean, you can see it here, it's like white on some silver, so that's not the best contrast. But overall, it gets the job done. And yeah, I do like metal shell IEMs, and especially if this feels as smooth, this one here, like we have no issues with this. And actually the optics, I have to confess, I do like this. I don't know if these are Chinese characters or if these are just parts of Chinese characters, but it does look nice and very unique. So overall build is pretty damn good, and yeah, it feels also probably a bit better than it actually price indicates. Next, cable here, and let me try to straighten the cable a bit so you can see what you get here. So as you can see, this cable is not the smoothest overall. If you really try to do this to it, like really pull it a bit, it gets kind of straight, but still not the best. And yeah, that means overall usability, while I have no issues with this, it could be a bit better. It could be just a bit smoother. But speaking of smooth, let's start with the bottom connector here. As you can see, super shiny aluminium, not contoured, very slippery. So I would wish this would be contoured so you can actually grip it, because at the moment, it's just pretty damn slippery. On top of that here, you can see there's a strain release. That is actually working nicely. As you can see, it's squishy, it does release strain. It just should be, let's say like 3 millimeters more or so, but overall it gets the job done nicely. The cable itself here, as you can see, is 4 cores, medium thick overall. It could be a bit thicker to my taste. And the actual twisting here or weaving is done relatively well. It seems to be even all across directly onto the splitter here. And the splitter does continue same style. Not my type of thing, but I mean, yeah, you do you. The chin slider, unfortunately, as you can see, no resistance whatsoever. Really doesn't really work at all. Like, it does slide way too much top and down, and it doesn't really stay in place. The wires here are the same thickness, and this top part here, as you can see, while being a tad smoother than the bottom part, it still could be a bit smoother overall, and I think a bit more premium, like with thicker cables, would be nice. But at this price point, actually, it's still okay. Like, isn't much to complain here. And then something that I should have tackled also with the IEM. As you can see, this is an MMCX connector, and it's one of the really tight ones. That means you can't plug it out without an additional tool or without a knife. And please, if you use a knife, use a butter knife. Nothing that could cut you. So, but with a butter knife, you could also open it. And yeah. The rubberization here, as you can see, is rather strong. It's really springy. And at the bottom here, you can see, yeah, this is medium to medium thick rubber around. And the actual bending radius is also on the smaller side, as you can see here. I wish it would be a tiny bit bigger, the radius around here, because, yeah, again, it is textured, and that can lead to discomfort for a few people. For me, it's usually okay, but I don't love this cable overall in terms of comfort. And then last but not least, the connector here. You can see again the white printing on the silver shell. I wish it would be color-coded. As you can see here, the other side also not color-coded. So we outside in like very heavily lit conditions, a bit difficult to read. But overall, for the price, this is a decent cable. It's not bad at all. Just wish it would be a bit smoother, and yeah, the indicator would be better. Next, comfort and fit here. And let me quickly show you the IEM here again. Yep, this IEM is medium in terms of size overall. It's like medium length nozzle, it's medium width, it's medium height, it's medium in everything basically. And that means combined with a nozzle diameter of 6 millimeters with a, like at the lip, with an actual nozzle diameters of 5.5, it does fit me pretty damn well. I can wear this for hours on end with the right tip, and really I don't notice it much because it's so medium, so average in size. Like really, it's just no issue at all. However, let me stress, my ear is about average in size, and only my ear canal is a bit smaller. And yeah, with this one, with the nozzle length here, actually I did most of the time use an S tip, if my tip was a bit shorter. If for instance here, the Velvet TWS S is just a bit small for me, so I used an SS, so I used an S tip. But with longer tips, SS is actually fine here. And yeah, with, for instance, the Sound Cocoon, I did use in its normal S size, and it worked totally fine for me. And yeah, due to the well-chosen angles here, like it's not extreme, it's lightly angled, it's not super semi-custom in shell shape, but semi-custom enough. It does fit well overall, and I don't think anybody will have issues with this IEM in terms of fit. Isolation next, and yeah, this is a medium to medium small footprint here, and it's a metal shell, and you do expect it to isolate well, and yeah, it does also isolate well in day-to-day life. That means while not being as good as, for instance, something like the Polar PaO2, which really isolates well, this is close enough, and really with a foam tip it should be enough for really all situations. Like even in traffic on the outside, it should be absolutely no issue whatsoever. Drivability then, yeah, this thing clocks in at 10.5 ohm at 106 decibels. That's rather efficient on paper, and I have to tell you, yes, in real life it is also rather efficient. Even the cheap Apple dongle is more than enough to drive this, and upping the power a bit to BTR5 over up5 does seem to improve, I think, bass impact somewhat, and maybe also treble a tad, but really it could also be just my imagination here. So really, it doesn't do much if you up the power, and if you up the power even more to something like the topping D53 and A53, well, didn't yield any improvement whatsoever. So overall, I would give this an 85% of how well it is drivable on an Apple dongle, and really don't worry about amplification. Next, general sound characteristics, and yeah, general sound next, and yeah, the best I can describe this is as an U-shaped IEM. It is definitively a bit, let's say, spicy on top, and the bass is a bit tame, but overall it's a U-shaped IEM. And we start, of course, with treble extension here, and yeah, as per graph, there's like a peak at like 13k or so, and I can't tell you exactly if it's 12k, 13k, or 15k, but to my ear, but to a couple of shows here, it's about correct. So that means after that, it's dipping, and I don't really get much information here, and that means to my ear, well, like you do like the uppermost registers a tad, but I'm also young enough to still hear them. So if you are like mid 40s and something like that, I don't think you need to worry about this. Like, there could be a bit more air on top, but really it's not a big issue whatsoever. I do notice something where I noticed blunted in my notes here, multivitamin juice part 1 and 2 from Owain, for instance. Yep, you do get most of the details, and there's some air going on, but it's not the best, and some IEMs that I have do better here. But really this is something only in A-B comparison you will be actually able to assess. And then mid-treble, yeah, I mean, you can see the graph for yourself. This is a peaky IEM in the overall treble representation. The graph shows there's a peak at 8k, and it's again one of those things, yes, it's an 8k peak, but only with the bad tip. If you get the right tip, to my ear, this gets pushed to more like 9k, and that means, for instance, what I couldn't use here is the original liquid silicone ear tip. That got an 8k peak for me, and I just couldn't use it. The sound cocoon being slightly shorter than the original actually did better here for me, and the peak was more like 8.5 or 9k, but yeah, as you see in the graph, it is peaky and it has an 8k peak, so try the right tip for you and you should be fine. But yeah, the rest of the treble, I mean, you can see it's still peaky. There's a 5k peak, and then we have now we are already transitioning to upper mids here. Yeah, probably the biggest blunder what this tuning is. I can't remember whether I ever complained about shout with an IEM. Like, really, I can't. Like, even with IEMs that other people said it's shouty, I couldn't confirm it. Well, this one is shouty. Absolutely is. The peak here is at more like 2.3k, not even like 2.5k to my ear, it's more like 2.3k, and it's a bit much, and that means I do get shout in quite a few tracks, and that combined with the 5k peak is not a good tuning to my ear. Like, really, I would prefer the peak to be at like 3k or 3.5k. Like 2.6k is also okay, but it's shouty. And yeah, even some tracks that are usually not shouty to me at all, like Linkin Park comes to my mind here, one of my favorite artists, absolutely comes off as shouty, and I just didn't enjoy it whatsoever. Also adding on top here, and this is will be in timbre later on as well. I mean, yeah, it's probably due to the peaks that it has here. It comes off as pretty damn grainy overall. And yeah, definitely there's BA timbre going on, and really, I didn't like it that much. It's not as bad as some of the cheap IEMs that had in BA in the nozzle, but it could be close to that. Really, it's just too grainy and comes off as too artificial overall. And yeah, the mids, probably the best thing about the IEM, and you can see by graph, they are pretty damn clean, and that means, yes, they are crystal clear to my ear, they have a good body, they never get lost in the mix, and yeah, it just sounds nicely overall. Bass now next. Yes, you can see the bass shelf. It starts all below 250 Hz with a tame 7 dB shelf with a light roll off, and unfortunately it doesn't slam and it doesn't punch, and it's I mean, you could call somewhat nimble-ish, but I'd say it's not the most nimble byte I've heard, and planars definitely beat this in overall bass quality here, but it's good enough. Like, this is not a bad DD that they use in here. And yeah, to graph, there is sub-bass roll-off, and that means, yes, in my benchmark track, Interstellar's Mountains, it barely manages 2 minutes 13 in my benchmark track here, and that means really there's not a lot of sub-bass going on here. And you can probably fix it with EQ by just giving it a shelf past, 50 Hz. This might solve the problem, kinda, but out of the box, yeah, it's just not a good quality sub-bass, just isn't. Next technicalities here, soundstage, layering, and imaging. And actually I would describe this as an average soundstage IEM here. It has a bit of lateral and temporal width here, and definitely it doesn't come off as too cramped in most tracks here. And actually in something like the Black Sad soundtrack that is just pure jazz, it comes off as articulation, like articulated in the soundstage department, like spatial enough, I would say. Layering, I mean, yeah, it's most of the times like 3 layers, like 70% of the times. And then in well-mixed tracks, again, Black Sad soundtrack comes to mind here. Yeah, 5 layers you can expect here, but it's not all this. And really, it's, more of the time it's like 3 layers, and really only some well-mixed stuff is 5 layers. Imaging is rock solid here. I have no complaints with this. You can probably game with this without issue. But it's also not an absolutely amazing imaging. It's just rock solid. Next, separation, dynamics, and coherence here. And I can make it short, while this one does like separate well enough. Actually in like 100-ish realm in terms of separation. Dynamics is goodish enough as well, but the biggest issue here, and as I've hinted before, is coherence and timbre. It definitely has BA timbre going on in the treble department. It comes off as grainy, as gritty, unnatural, all of the things that you don't want from treble, this has, unfortunately. This combined though also with the bit of a tame bass, I mean, I can also see people describing this as sounding a bit metallic overall. So yeah, not the greatest. And that brings me already to the verdict today. This is one of those things. The graph actually does look pretty decent. Like, yeah, there's a bass shelf below 250 Hz. The treble is not too absurd, but unfortunately, I just can't recommend this just by its frequency response at the moment, or like just by its actually sound to my ear and the frequency response it has. It is decent, but it's not great. And really, with the strong graininess and the shout it has, I think this misses the mark for quite a few people out there. It's not bad though, and it's one of those IEMs, if you are looking for an IEM that you want to give to somebody, like really this is super premium packaging. Like if you give this to somebody, I'll be like, okay, like I received a nice gift. And if this person is not super into audio, yeah, this is definitely well tuned enough for that. So I can see a target group who might buy this, or who might make sense to buy this, but as an enthusiast for yourself, I just wouldn't recommend it. It's not bad, and I really would recommend them to just, bring down the upper mid peak, or better, push it to like 3K or 2.7K. That would fix most of my complaints here, because the peak there is definitely still above the 5K peak, and that means normally you won't perceive the 5K peak as that badly. But if you are sensitive really to 5K, this will definitely not be for you overall. And also, as I said, you're paying for the packaging, right? You're paying for the premium accessories. And that means, it's just one DD and one BA, and it's not even a fancy DD. So really, it's also not the most technical at its price point. But if you get it on a deal and really you're just wanting a gift for like, let's say 80 bucks for somebody, I think this is a decent choice. And I really wish they continue this, or hope they continue this. I can see potential. Like really just this tuning is goodish enough. Just make it a tiny bit better, and I think this could be recommended, especially due to the comfort that it has. That's it. Hope you enjoyed it. Questions, recommendations, or criticisms, please leave a comment. Donspektor out.